Yo, what is good, my anime faithful? What is good, yo? So, a little backstory as to why I'm doing this mission right now with a certain person, who recently passed away, unfortunately, in recent episodes. But this man has literally turned a blind eye to one of my favorite characters, Sasha, and actually is going to, you know, not tell anybody that she's eating stuff she shouldn't be eating. And because of that, he wanted me to come on this mission with him, and that was pretty much it. Like, I had to literally come on a mission because I was nice to Sasha and allowed him to turn a blind eye, and that put me in debt. But this week's episode has so much information, and to think that people are probably going to miss this little bit, like a little bit of what happened. I mean, I feel like this was how I heard people complaining about Attack on Titan manga. Like, this was just something that they truly hated in the grand scheme of, like, oh, they're talking and they're not fighting Titans. Like, I thought this was Attack on Titan, not talk on Titans. Like, just really mad at the overall notion that they had to sit and pretty much listen to all this storytelling without any action. Regardless of that, I feel like that's the reason why I like this show, is because in this new day and age, action is everywhere. Like, if you want action, I literally can tell you any new anime that has came out within time of me making this video, like of this year, in 2019 alone. Any action anime, and they practically would line up doing some of the same exact stuff that all these action animes do. There's a little conflict, they solve it. There's another conflict, they solve it. And then guess what? Another conflict, and they solve it. And that's what's trying to play out here. But at the same time, it's playing out in a way that is much better, in my opinion, for um, the viewers to get a grand scale of how long this world has been in tatters, and um, who has been in the background trying to actually change it, and who's been in the background actually trying to preserve it, and wanting it to continue this way, because if it is this way, they just have more power, they have more fame, they have more respect. So why would you then go and change something like that? It kind of gives me the perspective of what I see um, watching this show as of like lately, when it comes down to the stuff we're learning, how long this stuff has been going on, and not to mention the fact that whoever is watching, like from the wayside and actually knows the history of what's been going on, they're disgusting. Like, that's so messed up, man. And to know that there was a guy who pretty much just loved the overall fact of being able to um, destroy people who seemingly were against the quote unquote capital, when really they were just being against being, uh, seen as dogs, seen as less than humans, and even worse, they are fed to the dogs. So you're definitely lower than dogs if you're being fed to them. It was a wild way of showing just what people are doing to these humans, and continuously doing. Not to mention the fact that uh, whenever we see any type of understanding of what's going on this week, it's through the eyes of, like, Aaron's father, but because he's eaten his own father, remembering these, like, reading his own memories, like his own writing, his own stuff like that, has pretty much triggered this, like, dream sequence type of deal where he's just getting all this information flow. And I think it's sick because not only do they get to convey like a backstory to us, they're pushing forward the present story as well as giving us a very dope backstory, you know. So it feels like this is definitely one of the better times of them trying to cater, and this is why I brought up the whole, you know, people were hating on it in the manga and stuff, is because even the creator himself wanted to give the anime a better outing in this part in general. So what does he do? He starts working with the people who are doing the anime, and that is probably why this whole outcome of this story part feels so much better than what people were explaining to me. Like the overall length of how long some of the arcs were, you know, taking into explaining this stuff when you got a full chapter of reading, and then after you're done reading, it just leaves you on a cliffhanger of, you know, they still need to understand someone else's goals and stuff like that that isn't even important to the story because he's passed away or something already, you know. It was really weird. Um, but thankfully, even the guy who created this understood that it wasn't as well, you know, sought out the way he wanted it to be. And what does he do? He helps. So I really enjoyed learning all this, not to mention the fact that it still has some backstory to tell. Like that's how crazy all of this history is. That's how long we've been waiting for, you know, to learn anything about this. And now that we're learning it, all of a sudden it's like, oh man, like we literally can see the end of Attack on Titan when it comes down to story. Like there's not too much. What else can they be hiding? We already know that even the whatchamacallit people, the higher ups, the people who have the ability to stop a lot of this stuff was a part of it. I don't have any nets to catch this. Oh no, I got an idea. And that's the part that like was tripping me out, you know. We're learning so much about all these people and what they've done, and then all of a sudden they just get away. You know, or all of a sudden they're still in a good position where they've always been. We just learn about them, and that just means all this time that they've been betrayed, and all this time that, you know, the people started forming this revolution against them. That means they've been hurt, betrayed, and now they should have been preparing ever since that betrayal. So I'm kind of scared to see what the people at the, you know, the place that we never thought existed, that of more humans. I want to know what they are looking towards in the future of, do they continue to like push forward and fight everybody in the case of um, the people behind the wall who are getting like too intelligent. It's pretty much those people behind the walls that are out here are practically, you know, fugitives, people who have betrayed this place and have gone on to try to live lives, you know, even if they make it, you know, all the way. They live their lives in this wall. I mean, and then with the Titan power getting their minds erased, they don't remember their old place where they came from. So much happened throughout the show, and to think that we're still learning more within this episode and another one coming, it's pretty ridiculous in the overall grand scheme of just how convoluted we had, uh, you know, like story from beginning to end, like from what we didn't even know to now. Is ridiculous. We have such a huge jump in knowledge when it comes to this show, thanks to pretty much the end of season 2 and the beginning of season 3, part 1 and 2. So very, very cool stuff. I definitely have a lot more videos to talk about. All these shows just ended. Well, at least 2 shows ended for sure. Maybe not getting continuations, and another show ended that's getting a season 2. So I want to talk about most of them. I think I'm going to leave one for another day, on a day where I have not as much content to put out, so I could add it to the list. So it's not just one day of videos, it's at least 2 or something. So I'll see when that is. But yeah, I gotta get to that. I hope you guys have an amazing day, night, evening, whatever the case may be when you're watching this. I am your boy, the Anime G, and I will definitely talk to you about Attack on Titan and more anime very soon. So with that, peace.